win in the Senate. This is good for America. This is good for America. I'm gonna take a new take, and hopefully this is a good reason, maybe probably, for what's going on with Epstein file list. Because as I watch what the Democrats are doing when it comes to their push to try to release these files and the possible fudging of evidence that could have happened during this time during the Biden regime and in other given times, because the FBI is completely rogue. Even I think under Kash Patel's, and Dan Bongino, there's still a big rogue aspect to it. I mean, the X Files. Gosh, how much truth can they put out with that smoker guy and everything, and even the leader of the FBI at the time that Boulder and Dana Scully would answer to, they would, that dude really didn't have a clue what was going on either. And he was, he didn't know half of what was going on behind the scenes. So anyways, that's probably very indicative of the actual truth. Even the smoker guy was being run by somebody. I looks back on that episode where that black goo came from some kind of meteor, and when they cut into it, it started infecting everybody. And anyways, rabbit holes. So back to the win. Senate passed Trump-backed recession plan to defund PBS, NPR, and slash bloated foreign aid. So that's good. The Senate narrowly approved a sweeping Trump-endorsed rescission bill that slashes this $9 billion in previously approved federal spending, including full defunding of PBS, NPR, and deep state cuts to foreign aid by a razor thin. Razor thin. Kind of reminds you of an AC/DC album. The razor's thin. The measure advances through a late night vote. Arama. Well, that's a good one. I haven't heard. There's a new brand for us right there. The Vote-A-Rama. Only two GOP senators, Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, sided with the Democrats to try to block Trump's efforts to restore fiscal sanity. You ever seen that movie, like the Goblins? Not Goblins. What is it? Is it Goblins? Where like they couldn't touch water, and they turned that's nice ones would turn all evil and stuff. Is that what it was? Yeah, I think it was. Anyways, that Murkowski looks just like that. Susan Collins is a bish too. And I got some updates about some of the people that have been around. Tim Walz too. One of this chick, this senator, is like, she's sick now all of a sudden, and there's undisclosed what her illness is. Now, this could be totally unrelated and speculative, but I just know that there was a campaign to try to get some of these people out of Tim Walz's way so he could climb the political ladder so that later on he could run for president in 2028. That sounds crazy, but anyways. But this is a big win for America because PBS, NPR are two of the main sources that have been completely annihilating people's minds with propaganda. And PBS doing it from the start with kids. They're kids have been exposed to so much pre-programming to get them geared up for the future of programming, to move them in the direction of purple hair and morphoditions. So PBS alone is probably one of the most dangerous networks that has existed at this point in time. And everything on their history, like if you go to the history part of PBS, is about how bad white people are. And everything, even it's absolutely amazing. And NPR, hi, thank you for tuning in to the William Archibald Show. Today, we're going to tell you in a lulled voice to make you completely and totally mind numb while we program you as an older adult to keep you in line. That's being defunded, so that's a big win. I want to say that we've got some good stuff popping off in here. Now, two things that are happening as well, interesting as all get out, is Democrat senator caught on body cam admits, I'm not good at this, alleged during an alleged home break-in. And I'll show you the footage of that. It is absolutely as epic as all get out. Strangely enough, by the way, this chick is Minnesota. Minnesota recently just had a huge conviction of two people who were involved in a voting scheme that mimicked the GBI strategies thing. And this, by the way, Minnesota, Ilhan Omar State, Minnesota, Tim Walz, Minnesota, that new up and coming Somalian mayor that's going to take over Minneapolis and completely transform it into a socialist community, defunding the police and adding all kind of different ways for people to stay really high on drugs. That's dangerous. I could just keep going on. That's Illinois. Yeah, that was Illinois. Yeah, it was Illinois. Okay, I'm thinking of, yeah. Anyway, so, this other senator chick right here, Nicole Mitchell, the Democrat Minnesota State Senator arrested for felony burglary, finally begins her trial today after months of delays. This is her in the actual, and it was a family member's home, and apparently she was breaking in because there were, originally the lady who owns the home says that I think I've been broken into before and I'm missing very important documents. I don't know the circumstances of the relationship between these two family members, but I just know that she wasn't after like stereo equipment and like, money in a purse or anything like that. She was searching for some kind of documentation and dresses up like one of the wet bandits from the movie Home Alone.
Get on the ground. Hands behind your back. There's some back to 10 volt. 10 volt, 451.
Carol? Yeah? It's Nicole.
It's Nicole?
Oh, Nicole.
I was just trying to get a couple of my dad's things because he wouldn't talk to me anymore.
Also stole documents out of the house. She's my stepdaughter.
I didn't steal any documents. How did I steal documents?
Nicole, what's your last name?
Mitchell.
You had your Aunt Nancy do it.
30 Becker Route
No one
1015.
did anything.
Was there Nicole Mitchell in the house? Stand up. Okay.
No one stole anything here, Carol. I don't have anything on
Take
me.
her out if you want to talk to her.
Not tonight.
You got anything on you?
No. I have a flashlight. That's it.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm transitioning right here for 1015. 10-4, or 10-15. Becker, you can clear 10-33. 10-4, clear 10-33 at 450.
That's crazy. She put on her, well, of course, she's got her big, stupid virtue signaling glasses on, wearing an actual cat glasses with cat burglar outfit. That's wild, dude. And I wonder if it's got something to do with a divorce, or could it be some financial, disclosure things? I mean, who's to say?
And I see a Nicole Mitchell in-house. Is it Mitchell?
Mitchell.
Mitchell. What's your date of birth?
This is wild. So, like I say, there's so many just insane things going on in Minnesota that I can't even comprehend all this. As I kind of move around a little bit there's this whole thing about Trump signing in these illegals to do certain kind of work, allowing amnesty, and I'm totally against that, by the way. But there's an argument from the other side of the aisle who advocate for this kind of stuff because they don't have a workforce to replace them with, which could very well be a legitimate thing. Doesn't mean it's right. But what this Reebok founder says, moving productions from Asia to back to the United States is hard when no one wants to sit at a sewing machine anymore. Nobody even knows how to use one. Don't even know what it wants. You set a sewing machine in front of one of these new people, these new kids nowadays. They think it's some kind of, is this a new mixing board? What do I do with this thing? And we've had a massive propaganda campaign put forth against the American people that have vilified anything that has anything to do with being self-sufficient, a sustainable trade that can get you through life, not only surviving with the skills that you've been instilled with, but also being able to make some money with it and be productive and be part of an actual functioning society. That's no doubt. I've been in school whenever the teachers would be like, oh, you don't want to work an outside job, or you want to do this, you want to do an office job, you want to be inside, you want to do this, you want to do that because it's hot out there, and I'm sitting there thinking, you know what, you're nuts, because somebody's got to do it. Who's going to do it? So they've been flooding that market with illegals, and that gives, that puts a foothold and also a stronghold amongst citizens. And by the way, it makes everybody totally weak because they can't do for themselves. Opposition grows as Zoran Mamdani leads New York City polls, and I'm only going to give you this one instance of argument to kind of go by. If you don't understand the climate of the world and where people have been completely disenfranchised due to the fact that they feel like that all their hard work, considering the fact that 30% of your money goes to taxes, 20% of it's valueless because of the massive inflation rate that has taken place. So you're being a hard worker isn't exactly what you want to call paying off with its full dividends by any means. And so you you feel so disenfranchised that you sort of throw in the towel and you think, well, communism will save me because if I work really hard, I'm just going to die at the sword. And so if I vote in communism that says they're going to come in here and just kind of hand out everything that I possibly would need to just to survive, and I can kind of live off of the aspect of no inspiration and be happy with it, then I'll be okay. And that's what that's why you got people that will actually vote for this mom dommy dude and all. And so that's a dangerous thing. The reason why they've decided to start putting candidates like this in because there's been a lot of scientists and behavioral psychiatrists that understand the climate of the world that has changed. Speaking of that, the climate has changed to the point where, like, Steve Miller Band decides to cancel all their tour dates due to climate change. Now, you can say that they actually believe this has really happened, which they may, or basically this is just a way for them to try to go after boomers and keep boomers on the hook to go out there and stand in front of your vehicle with a sign that says F you and F America and F all you people who think climate change is a hoax. Because that's a target audience, by the way, last of the last. And be honest with you, that we talk so much junk about these elites riding around on airplanes, just two of them in a big old FU 747 loaded down with people from the Epstein Island. That why do they come at us with climate change? They're kind of well, here you go. But anyways, I think there's way more to that behind than just that. But this is what I was talking about earlier with Epstein stuff. The time has come, says Mike Pence, to release all Epstein files. And I'm like, now you're actually starting to get us to understand what's really going on. I'm not saying that Trump shouldn't release what's there, but there also is an aspect that he has seen what's there, and they could have actually taken all this information that dealt with them, because all the people who want the Epstein stuff released now, other than the Trump supporters who want the Epstein stuff released, but all the people in political positions and that are Hollywood elites that would be on that list that we know have had affiliation, like Mike Pence. You look into his history when it comes to fiddling with a fiddler. He's been in lots of bands fiddling away, and other people related to this whole thing, like Adam Schiff, and you got we haven't heard a lot out of Chuck Schumer, but we have heard stuff like that. We know Chuck Schumer, dirty man, with his totally woman wife. These are the ones that are trying to put forth the effort to get this stuff out, which should be alarming to you guys. And so that in itself might be a telltale sign that the reason why Trump is like, oh man, this is. I'm just saying that maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There could be something to do with that, and hopefully we can make our way through all that. I didn't like how he handled saying stuff about his constituents, but he didn't want their support anymore. But he's an old dude. Maybe he just pissed the hell off, and he just has no F's to give anymore. We'll see what happens. We'll roll through this. But I still support a conservative viewpoint, and anytime we can get wins like that thing with NPR and PBS really, really, really makes me happy. So I'm going to say that's a good thing. Tina Smith is hospitalized, by the way. This is the Minnesota Democrat Senator Tina Smith has been admitted to the hospital after falling ill today and will not be able to help Democrats try to block tonight's recession and the package vote. That's she's nuts anyways. I don't want to wish ill fate on people because it kind of has a karma effect, so we'll just leave it at that. But she also hopes to be back in the near future. Now, we could blame this on some of the jabberoos, or we could blame this on Tim Walz, who's actually been in photographs with Tim Walz and his wife, as most of your captors tend to have a very close relationship with you. Think about that. And you remember what happened with that new Boltler guy who said that he was being employed by a deep state faction to go in there and take out certain operatives in the government so that Tim Walz can climb the ladder. We've seen this happen in powers of the elites take out their own family members if they're in the way. So what would be this woman right here? I'm just saying. They tried to get Justice Thomas, back in the day with food poisoning. That was alleged. Trump goes off on Governor Newsom, cancels funding for California's failed $130 billion high-speed train that went to nowhere. That would be a good song to play, but it'd be copyright with Ozzy right now. The road to nowhere leads to me. And have Gavin Newsom standing at the end of that. But $130 billion, $130 billion. That's a lot of money. $130 billion. That would build schools, 2 or 3 or 4 nice schools in every state of the United States. More than likely, you could get a lot out of that. You could think about you could rebuild the Francis Scott Key Bridge that completely collapsed after a totally isolated incident that was an accident that had nothing to do with any kind of hacking that's turned that boat around and smashed into the bridge. That dude, that governor of that place, he's right in there. But anyway, so that's a big deal. So that's another huge win for America. $130 billion. That was a money laundering scheme. I'd love to see where that money went. I'd love to see who got some of that money. Anyways, so big deals going on in America. So we've got some wins. This is good news today. Happy Thursday. Have a good rest of the day. And thank you all very, very much for your time and your subscription to this channel and all the support. You guys have a wonderful day. I'm out.